Welcome to episode 8 of Africana, season 1. Africana is a platform where young Africans share their perspectives and experiences on their path towards a free mind and life. And on today's episode, we're back with a bang. Back with a bang with a bigger group. We talked about who, what, and why FluidTech does what they do, and you got to meet the CEO. But these are young entrepreneurs, a group of young entrepreneurs, all grinding, and we thought it would be important to see the team, right? Or rather, a representation of the team of these amazing young Kenyans who are making strides in the tech space. And we want you to hear from the horse's mouth the dynamics. You're thinking of a business idea with your friends. Will it work? Find out from people who've done business with friends, who are doing business with friends and thriving. So that's the basis of our conversation today. We'll talk about friendships in the context of business. We'll talk about diversity, meaning different cultures from different continents, people from different places in the world working together, how they come to play. And without further ado, I'll introduce my guests today. I'll start with Rohni Manji on my left. Rohni, you can tell us a bit about what you do at FluidTech.
Thank you, Clara, for the opportunity. I think for those who've watched the Blacklist, have you watched the Blacklist?
Yes.
You know Dembe?
Yeah.
Dembe.
Yes.
I am the Dembe.
For FluidTech, yes.
So I just know everything is.
Yeah.
You know, whatever is needed, you know, I'm there to sort things out. So I'm the operations, head of operations, I'd say.
Yes.
Yeah, for FluidTech.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. And on to my right, you've seen him before.
Yeah. You can check it out here.
Please do if you've not watched.
If you've not watched.
This is Mwathi.
Yes.
Tell us a bit more about what you do at FluidTech for the guys who haven't watched.
If you haven't watched, I am co-founder and CEO currently of FluidTech in a very short statement.
Yeah.
So basically, I also double down as a software dev. So you also find me right here with the guys just trying to crunch some software. Yes, so that's what I do.
That's good. Good. So, again, guys, if you've not watched the previous video, it would be nice to watch it because it will give you a lot of context into what we're discussing today. A brief background is we were all classmates in campus, and as you can see, they're in business and they're thriving. And the first question is, from the classroom to the boardroom, yeah? How has your friendship evolved through the years, through finishing campus, starting a business? The business is, okay, neither here nor there, and then the business is there, and now it's thriving. You can start us off, Rohni.
Okay. So you'd find that in the Kenyan context or the African context, there's a very thin line between how you live your life and how you do business.
Yes.
Very thin line.
Thin, yes.
And that thin line, if you pay attention, that thin line opens the window to your colleague's life. Mm-hmm. So let me explain. So you'd find a situation where Tony, for example, he doesn't need to tell me much about his life.
Yeah.
All right. But I can, since we're together almost every other day.
Yes.
I'd notice that, let's say, Clara, hypothetically, you are very good friends with Tony, and you'd visit the office at least twice or thrice a week. Yeah. Every time you visit, for some reason, Tony's coding skills through the roof.
Yeah.
Quality work.
I do my best work there.
Best work. All right.
Yeah.
And for some reason, Clara stops showing up.
Yeah.
And Tony's,
quality of work,
goes down. So I don't need to ask for an explanation to notice that.
Yeah.
So how that comes in handy.
Hey, Dembe.
You see them,
Dembe. So if we have an investor meeting tomorrow,
yes,
and I notice Clara hasn't been showing up and his quality of work is dipping, I will either ask him if I can join the meeting.
Yes.
Or tell him, just sit this one out. Let me talk to the investor.
Yeah.
Because I can tell that you're not on your A
At
game.
your best.
You're not at your best. So that goes across the other 4 members.
Yes.
So the level of friendship, of course, has deepened. When you get to peek into their personal lives, you don't have to say anything, but you can just get an idea. You know. One of us recently proposed to his love, his person of his life,
baby.
Yeah. So of course now we have to start thinking differently as founders, because you're like, okay, when it comes to insurance, there's the 5 of us plus
6.
Now plus her now.
Yes.
Long term, that needs to be considered. So I mean the friendship from Strathmore to now has definitely grown.
Yeah.
And entrepreneurship has opened up indirectly a window to their lives.
Yeah.
So that's positive.
Right. That's actually really dope. Anthony, how's the friendship evolved for you?
Well, friendship and business is highly discouraged by most.
Yeah, by most.
Like, that's capitalism. Like, we're not friends. We're
out to get each other.
Out to get each other.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill you on the ground. Not literally, don't kill people.
Yeah.
But I'm after your neck 24/7. But I understand that side of capitalism. I understand why friendship can be a barrier. But I also subscribe to the school of it doesn't have to be. And I think that's what this taught me.
Yeah.
Is before I was very capitalistic. I'm a capitalistic man. Like, I look at things, in a very logical fashion. At least I try to think so.
Yeah.
So I understand why they came up with those rules. They're not really rules, more like practices in capitalism, where you try and separate the two.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But doing this has taught me it can be a good thing. It can be a good thing that whomever I work with is my friend.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying everyone doesn't have to be your friend. You just need to work with people who can be your friend.
Yeah.
Even if they don't become your friend. So basically, that work relationship needs not to be hostile.
Yeah.
And that's what they taught me is it's okay to have friends at work.
Yeah.
Because like he mentioned, you'll see things, you have more information to work with. Let me put it that way. You have more information
inside
to
that
work
info.
With. Inside that info. Exactly.
Yeah.
So your next step, if it's let's say an argument or whatever it is informed.
Yeah.
So you know how to quote act accordingly. Right. So that's another positive, but I mean there are negatives to come to with like working as friends, because complacency.
Yeah, because it's your homie.
Yeah, like what will they do?
Yeah, I mean, I'll do it when I do it.
Yeah, like, dude, I told you I'll get it done. So just chill.
Trust me.
Yeah, just chill. Yeah. Or when you're trying to have a serious conversation and some things, friendship interferes. I mean, that's a problem to your business because you don't know how to separate the two now.
The two.
Right?
Right.
So that's also something, also from a leadership thing, it's taught me is when to know, quote unquote, to be harsh or like
softer.
What's happening, or when to come as a friend. Yeah. Right? And I think to be honest, that was a big problem at the beginning. I'm sure you can attest to that.
Yeah.
At the beginning, we were too friendly. Right? It's all too casual. Yeah. Right? It's like, we know where we want to be, we know what we want to do, but it's lax. It's Maisha London. Yeah. But it's not Maisha London because you got targets, you got deliverables that you gotta do. So don't let friendship get in the way.
Yeah. All right. So I remember, Rohni, yours was a positive sentiment. Is there one negative sentiment you might share with our audience?
About the friendship thing?
About the friendship thing, yeah.
Actually, I'll just use the same example. If in the event I notice Tony's change in
productivity,
and the meeting needs some technical terms. I personally don't code.
Yeah.
Yes, we were all in the same class, coding class.
Yeah.
I just,
Right.
I gave up.
Yeah.
I gave up about coding. Yeah. So that meeting, if I'm unable to get any other, coder to join me, I'd have to bluff my way.
Yes, through it.
Yeah, and use terms that I don't understand.
Yeah.
Yes, we have servers and coding and everything. It's like,
Yeah.
okay. So I might leave that meeting upset.
Yeah.
At
Tony.
I'm just like, brother. Like, why can't you deal with your Clara problems?
Yeah.
Earlier,
Yeah.
So that I guess that would be my only negative.
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting. For me, from my personal experience, I started a business with friends. Well, it was more, we were former colleagues who had common interests. So actually, I would say friends with some of them. In 2019, it's still running, but we've had so many challenging times, especially at the end of last year and the beginning of this year. It's been so challenging, it's been so draining. A lot of us have felt like quitting, and most of it's interpersonal relations. So you find that because this person is your friend, there are things you do not know. Now mine was the opposite. Because we were boys, there are things we'd not experience with each other. Like for instance, one particular person, I didn't know how he was with money. Because we've just never been in a situation where we handle money together. Another person is, we're boys, but I just never knew how casual we can be. Because you see, it's very challenging when now things are serious and you need to be serious. But there's just because you've never been there with this person, it becomes hard to channel that part. It becomes tasking to channel that part. So I think for me, I've had quite a tricky experience running a business with friends, and it's very good to see you guys thriving, because then I understand it is the dynamics that are different. It's how you deal with what's coming up that sets apart. Because all friends go through issues,
We all got issues.
difficult, especially tougher issues than people who are not friends, And I think the definitive factor is what you guys decide to do. Like you see, for you, Rohni, what I've picked up is you're very introspective. Like you think, okay, this is what's happening, this is what I infer, and with this thing I infer, maybe this is how I should approach it with this specific person, and you see things like that. Now that's a value you add to these other guys, because once they see Rohni is doing this, even then they pick up. They're like, oh, so that's how I can get to Tom when this is happening. Okay, now we've learned. This is how, now we've learned, and you pick up from there. Like for instance, Tony, even figuring out how to be tough and when to be a friend gives guidance to the other guys to be like, okay, so when this kind of thing is happening, I need to approach as a friend, even if I know deep down it's a business issue. Maybe the approach I need to approach is friendly. And then once we figured this person has felt comfortable with me, and we've gotten to a point of, okay, there's a problem, then start the business talk. You're like, okay, now this is how we move. That leads me to the next point of discussion regarding your age, guys.
Yes.
Do you know that you're young? Let's start there. Let me ask you, Tony, now. When did you know that you were young in the business space?
Is when people look at you as if you're young. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's
yes.
when people look at, because you see, you might walk into a reception space or whatever client's office or boardroom, and somebody could be like, maybe I'm in the wrong boat. Do you know what I mean? Because they didn't expect young people. You see, when you're on email, you can be a 90-year-old, you can be a 2-year-old who's very good at writing in English, but it's very hard to tell the difference if the lingua is the same. Right? Until you meet face to face and you're like, what? Like, you're younger than what
reception is telling you. Do you have a student ID?
Exactly, something like that. It's like, intern, are you here for? Are you here to drop your papers, or what is something like that? I'm like, no, we're here to meet whomever director you're about to meet, or whomever person you're about to meet. But then that whole underestimation of your capacity just because you're young is what makes you really know you're young.
You're young, I've not eaten life. You're just like crazy.
It's crazy.
All right, I will get to that. There's something you've mentioned that I want us to expound. For you, when did you know that you are young in this business space?
I mean, today guys still ask me what school I'm in, like what university.
What course are you doing?
Imagine, and FluidTech is 3 years, 10 months old.
Yeah.
So it was worse back then.
Yeah.
So.
Has the hair helped?
The hair has not helped.
Worse.
The hair is worse.
Yeah.
I look young now. I look like a rapper.
Yeah.
Rapper. Industry.
Young Roro.
Are you
Thank you guys for the positive comments.
Yeah. We believe in you.
Cool. When are you launching your EP?
Anyway.
Yes.
For me, it started with my family, actually. Because you'd find uncles and aunties reminding you that, okay, listen, what you're trying to do it's nice, but you're still so young, so why don't you get a job?
Yeah.
Get that salary, save that money, and then maybe 5-6 years down the line, you guys can now put money into this FluidTech thing and do something. I mean, it makes sense, but I had made the decision.
Yeah.
So there was very little support.
Yeah.
At that time.
Yeah.
But now, 3 years, 10 months down the line,
yeah,
I'm like, okay. I mean, still young.
Yeah.
You're still young, but I can see what you guys have put in. I can see what you guys have done so far and where you're going.
Yeah.
So some of them now are interested in how can I help?
Yeah.
The pettiness in me, I'm like, first of all, you had 3 years.
Right?
You had a chance 3 years ago. You didn't help, so help me. But the common sense in me is like, okay, this is evidence that we are doing something. So come on board.
Yeah.
So yeah, it happened then, it's still happening now-ish, with clients and interested interns or employees. It happens. There's a time.
Yeah.
We were looking for a few programmers.
Yeah.
And there's a lady who entered the boardroom. I think she had just done her PhD. I don't know if you are there. I don't think you are there. She had done her PhD and she entered and she looked at us and she was like, the first thing she said, you guys are quite young. I'm like, yeah, and we're about to employ you.
Yeah.
But no. So it hasn't really negatively affected me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm still kind of going through that phase of you're young. I mean, it's something I still go through, I went through. So I don't know at what point it'll stop, I'm not sure.
When you grow old.
What age is that? 30?
And then you might find that you're those people who age but don't age, like...
I think so. So I mean, yeah, I enjoy it sometimes. Sometimes I don't.
So there's something you talked about, the underestimation, right? Has that worked to your advantage or disadvantage? Like someone just underestimating you because you're young?
Well, both, but more for us.
In what sense?
So, the moment you start engaging with me, you've already placed me or us somewhere.
Yeah.
In your ranking of whatever it is, right? So we start having a conversation, and the words that are coming out of our mouth match whomever your perception was, if not, better. Right? So that whole transition, seeing them taking you from, I might as well listen to you, to, oh, you're making a whole lot of sense. And, that whole transition is what works for us, because now to them, they're convinced subconsciously, these guys they know what they're talking about. They might look young, but their knowledge or their expertise in this particular industry matches just anyone else who could have walked in through that boardroom. Yes, that was trying to do the exact same thing that they want. So that does something in terms of, it's now human psychology kicks in. I like these guys. Because it's like, they're young, which means got a lot of energy. They're willing to do the groundwork, all those now young points start working to your advantage.
All right.
Because now you've already proved yourself through conversation.
Okay. I get you.
Yeah.
And let me ask you, when it comes to the day-to-day of the business, a lot of people have an assumption that young people don't know how to do business. But and this is something I picked from my workspace. There's an illusion, and I say an illusion because the people who are making this illusion are young people. They're 30, in their early 30s. They're not old people. But the illusion of us 20-year-olds is that we don't know how to run a business, and we are hungry for nothing. Like, it's hunger without substance, which I think was grossly wrong. It was so wrong.
It is.
Because in my mind I was like, I mean, it's unfortunate that someone in a leadership position thinks that. And then their point of hiring young people is so that they can get cheap labor. So my question is, as a young person in business, do you feel like there are things you've missed? Or do you think that there are things that you might not see? And if there are, how do you bridge that gap? We get it? Like, we're on the same page?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that topic? You can even comment on the assumption.
I think that I see why they're assuming that, because they probably weren't taught about entrepreneurship the way we weren't taught about entrepreneurship. So they're remembering what they missed. So they're like, these guys probably didn't. And we know, because nothing much has changed in the education system. So I understand. I see where they're coming from with that logic. But at the same time, just the same way they learned through the process is the same way we've learned through the process. So they should look at us through the same lens. Like, this is me when I was coming up. So let me employ them, not for cheap labor, but for what they actually deserve. So I get that. In terms of what, if there's anything we've missed, there's a lot we've missed because we weren't taught about it.
How do you bridge that gap?
Baptism by fire.
Okay.
Baptism by fire. No one is going to teach you. So you just have to. These days we have the University of YouTube. And there's a lot of Kenyan content surrounding entrepreneurship. Just someone somewhere has gone through something that you're going through. Just type it out and see what's up. And your competitor is going to watch that same video for 2 hours. You watch for 4 hours. Be ahead of the game. So in terms of bridging the gap, that would be it. If you can shadow someone in your industry, go look for that guy. Shadow him. Just just be with him, see how he works. If you can do your side business at the same time, take what you've learned there, apply it in your business. So research yourself, shadow someone. That should be my answer.
Awesome. How about you?
Well, I agree with. Well, I don't agree is a very strong one. I understand why the 30-something or 40-something person would think 27-year-olds or 20s before old don't know how to run a business. Right? I understand it from the point of it's an experience, right?
Yeah.
It's an age of experience, meaning 1-year-old person is most likely less capable to close a deal than somebody who has been doing it for 10 years.
Yeah.
I have had 10 years to close deals.
Yeah.
So of course you understand business more than I do.
Yes.
But at one point in time, yours was 1.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So instead of telling me I don't know how to, show me how. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Don't just stamp on me. Just, okay, tell me this is how you think. This is how the ropes happen. You know?
Yeah.
This is how you walk through the paces. This is how you close a deal. This is how you talk to this person. Right?
Yeah.
So when I look at things from that, yes, I agree with you. Maybe I don't know, but you didn't know either.
Yeah.
Right?
So help a brother.
So
you
help
know.
a brother out.
Yeah.
Right? And one thing I like about young people, they want to know. They want to learn.
Yeah.
Right? And so take it, but don't take it and pay me pennies. Like, because where you lack, I provide. I'm more psyched with energy. You're more psyched with experience.
Yeah.
So let's merge.
Let's combine.
One is not greater than the other. So let's find a way to merge the two and get something done.
Yeah.
Right. So to answer your bridging question, I think skill is something that can really bridge that. Right. I'm going to go on a bit of a detour, but I could have red hair, I could have green hair, I could be a Rastafarian, I could be whatever. But that my brain doesn't mean my brain cannot produce changes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so it's the same way. Just because you look at me and see I'm young, right, does not mean what I can do can't match you or surpass you.
Yeah.
Right? So stop using age as a way to put me down. If anything, I'm an uplifter. I like uplifting people, you know, just uplift me, you know, mentor me, shadow me, or let me shadow you. Not shadow me, I'm trying to
shadow yes, give me an opportunity.
Give me an opportunity to grow. And, you know, if it took you 10 years to be able to be a good deal closer, you know, mentor me so that I can do it in 2.
Yeah.
So that whomever comes after me when I'm 10, they can do it in 1.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how you grow an economy. That's how you get people on the next step.
And also from a veteran's perspective, I think for them it also ensures continuity of your business because you're creating links with the younger generation. You're creating a chain, right? Because you see, if you're 40 and you're only talking to 40, 50, 60-year-old entrepreneurs, you're missing a generation, right? You're missing the next generation of customers.
Yes.
Because, for instance, think of, and I'll even give an example of Safaricom, right? Safaricom got to a point where they realized, the people who really love Safaricom are old now. Right? They're old. They're my folks.
It's shifted. Yeah.
They are the folks of the people who work there, And around 2015, 2016 is where now the conversation of how do we move, how do we get in touch with this younger generation? And then 2016 is when Blaze was born. And you find that Blaze is now so you find your mom connects with Safaricom. You connect with Safaricom through different channels. And I feel like in business perspective, that is the connection you need for longevity. You can't just be serving 90-year-olds. Like those 90-year-olds are phasing out. You need their kids and their kids' kids to also feel connected to your business. You need to invest in business that is hot. Right now, it's very rare that a 60-year-old business stays hot 24/7. It's time to...
Things change, times change,
right?
So you gotta change with the changes.
Change with the times,
yes.
Yeah. So I think for me, I relate with what you guys are saying in terms of that. And even in terms of the school of YouTube, it's so crazy how easily it is to upskill. without money.
Oh, quite.
Definitely.
Like, all you need is internet connection and a gadget. And it doesn't even have to be your own gadget, Have you seen how kids these days just want your phone? It's not even games anymore, it's YouTube. Okona YouTube. It's like Sina, and then they're just watching Looney Tunes or when a call comes, it's just,
Yeah.
So I think that advantage of learning on the go, and I think also in terms of our mindset, I think one of the biggest advantages we have is our mindset. And I say this having worked with a lot of older people. So what I realized the difference is from a generational perspective is people in our generation are triers. People in the older generation are knowers. If I know, I'll do. If I know, I don't know. I don't know. If I don't know, I won't do. If I know, I'll do. And rarely do they ask, how do I know? How do I get to find out?
Yeah.
As opposed to our generation is, this looks odd. This is something new I've never seen before. Let me try. See if it's similar to something I've seen. Okay, it's similar. Let me try connect. You get, so it's in that process of quote unquote try. Curiosity and being very comfortable not knowing. You're comfortable being a learner everywhere, just experimenting. And I feel like that's one of the biggest advantages of having youth in business, because these people are willing, not only willing, but they're able. You see, at this age, you don't have dependencies, so as a business, you're willing to take more risks than you would take when you're 40. You get?
Exactly. That's a really good point, because I think that's the biggest strength for being young and in business, is you're willing to do 10x more riskier things than somebody who has to worry about family or someone. Like, responsibility is still less.
Yeah.
Right? Because the only risk factor right now is you. Right? And if you're lucky to still have your folks around, deep down, you might not say it, but they're your backup.
Yeah, you're like, it can fail.
Yeah?
Right?
So you just, the riskier, the better, because right? And since you have that tenacity to learn, you have that, ability to want to know, because you don't know, right?
Yeah.
You want to know so that, you can try and mitigate that risk.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's risky enough because you don't know what you're about to enter into. Enter school of YouTube, enter Google, enter whatever it is that you use to find your information, for you to catch up and upskill, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
So that's a very, very big plus that I think most people haven't awoken to.
Yeah.
Is if there was a time to take a risk, is now. Don't take a risk when you're 40 or 50. No, you missed the ball.
Take it now and fail now. Like, it's so... our CEO, where I'm employed at, my 9 to 5, keeps saying, fail fast and fail early. Like, it's good to fail in the beginning, right? It's good to fail in the beginning, and it's good to fail when you can't fail.
Yes.
There are those times where you can't.
It's not an option.
It's not.
It's not an option.
It's not, by the way, it really is not. Because, like, for instance, if you're talking about the FluidTech team, that's, okay, 5 people, 5 families.
Yes.
And you don't know how many kids people will have.
Precisely.
On top of that, that's the core. Then there's staff.
Yes.
Then there's partners.
Yes.
Then it just gets to a point where you can't. You're just there. Even before the pitch, you're telling yourselves, we have to
close this.
Yeah, we have to close this. There's no option. I understand you. And then I want us to talk about culture, right?
Yeah.
When we were in Strath, when we were doing options for languages.
The electives, yeah.
Electives. And what elective did you do? Spanish. Espanol.
But for the wrong reason.
Also,
Please
that
don't tell
Spanish
me.
teacher was.
Just because the teacher was
Mad. Beautiful girl.
Yeah. Do you know? I think most of the people chose Spanish because of that babe. Yeah.
Woman.
And she's also a good teacher, just to add.
I don't know, I didn't take Spanish.
No, she
Yes,
must
these guys were speaking Spanish. Kinawini.
I mean, they were speaking for the wrong
For
reasons.
the wrong reasons, you know. Okay, and your elective was Japanese. I also did Japanese.
No. My elective was Chinese. Sorry.
It was Chinese.
I did Chinese.
Tom and Mikey are the ones who
knew
did
the
Japanese.
language.
But just please so you can pass.
Like, I'm telling you, Tony, your education goes because us guys, we were for quorum, you know, just for the class to just get full. Anyway, so, you did Chinese,
Yeah, I
right?
did Chinese.
Tom did Japanese.
Yeah, Tom was in
And
Japanese.
Mikey did
was
Chinese.
but
Mikey did Chinese.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, the people we're talking about are the other members of the FluidTech team.
Yeah.
So, and if you want to know them more, I'll link their podcast in the description box.
Yeah.
So, so this story is starting from far, but we're getting there. So, I genuinely, if you ask me where I did Japanese, I think the Japanese culture is fascinating. And I think there's an importance in knowing the Asian culture, because I personally feel like in terms of connection, in terms of culture, I think our ethos are similar. Like the things
Going through?
our cultures are quite similar as opposed to the Western. I identified more with the Asian culture than I did with the Western European culture. That was one. Secondly, the way the Chinese were coming in Kenya, I was like, hey, let me learn Japanese. Because when I compare Chinese and Japanese, I think Japanese would be a bit simpler to learn. Now,
I thought you were going to say something.
why
else,
did
but-
you do Chinese?
Chinese? It was my next challenge.
Yeah,
Right.
because he knows Japanese.
Pussy
I'm
does.
like, wow, index one.
No, I was fascinated. It's one of those I have to know. First of all, they're flooding the continent.
Kabisa.
I want to know whatever it is that you're saying. I want to be that guy who's just in an elevator, you're all talking.
Fly on the wall.
Yes, you're all either talking trash, whatever it is you're saying. Then when I leave, I speak your language.
Yeah.
And leave you all be like, crap.
Yikes. Did
Yes,
he? Okay.
But luckily that has never happened. I've never been in a situation where I have to do that. But Chinese was the next thing I could, and I felt like I had a good enough starting point. The fact that I already knew one additional language in the
Asian
Asian context. So let's see what we can do with this.
Yeah.
You know. And that taught me other things too, because I believe language has so much to teach you outside of language.
Yes.
I don't know if that has made sense.
Yes. And that's what we're thank you for leading us to this question on diversity. So the reason why I introduced the background is some of us passed exams, others went on to close business deals and create business connections with people from the Asian world. FluidTech guys. So your business, and this is from an outsider looking in, and I need you to also let us know what's happening here. You guys, is it that your clients are also, you have a lot of Asian clients? Quite a few?
Yeah, we have a few Asian clients in there.
And from my observation, your culture is a hybrid of a lot of things. Here is why I say from the outside looking in. It's because, first of all, your wealth of knowledge in terms of ways of working is broader. it's broader. And in terms of cultural nuances, experiences, getting to know how to pitch to someone who, okay, you learned their language, they invited you to see their country, but there's also that I'm a foreigner, you're like we are different.
We're on two different spectrums.
How do you bridge the diversity gap? Because I believe at first there might be fear and uncertainty from both parties. You know, you guys, okay, you've learned the language, we've learned the language, everything, but you're Kenyan. You're Kenyans from an African context, and you're trying to sell, and you've been, or not trying to sell, you're selling an idea that transcends the technicalities of where you're from. The idea is bigger than that. How do you get to that point where you're working with someone from a diverse culture? And how do you also remain true to who you are in that process of working in a diverse environment? Yeah.
I don't know, I'll let him start.
Okay, so I remember my primary school years, right? I was at the same school Rohni went, St. Mary's.
Right.
Sorry, you
Had
said
to.
You better respect.
It's like alliance, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. So during break time, we used to have this thing called a combi.
Kombi.
Combi.
Kombi.
COMBI, right? And I remember when I joined, I was like, what is this thing? You know? So they used to take a donut and then put a samosa. And then maybe another donut if you want, but you know, ideally it was the donut and samosa. So in my head, I was like, donuts and samosas. Like,
Yeah, even me, I'm like,
I don't know. But my guy,
You
slaps in a donjo.
one of the tastiest things I've had in my life.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's similar.
I mean, if you're remembering it till now, and
It must be
there's-
special.
Oh man, that combi was beautiful.
yeah.
So obviously these were my the students I met there who were trying to sell this idea to me.
Yeah.
They're like, you just have to try this thing. Because I've had a donut before, I know
Yeah.
it tastes. I've had
Samosa.
samosa before.
You know how it tastes.
Yeah.
Combination, I don't know.
You get lost in
I
between the
don't
flavors.
So for us, I feel for most of these clients, individually they probably have an idea of, they know who a software developer is, they know what a software developer does.
Yes.
They meet a dembe, you know, a Rohni dembe.
Yes.
They know what an operation guy does.
Yeah.
But when you marry the two in the tech industry, the African context, because they're Asian, they're like, I don't know. Let's probably look for someone who's worked with them or someone similar.
Yeah.
You know, but generally, you just try to show them that together, it tastes really nice.
Yeah.
It tastes really
It's a
nice.
nice story.
You know,
Yeah.
Beautiful man.
Yeah.
So just one of them just needs to
Try.
taste that, and once
Yes.
they try, and like, guys, just like
Yeah.
me, this is. I was there. What 207?
Yeah.
This is when I was finishing class 8, I think. Yeah, so 207 to now, and I still remember the taste.
Yeah.
So once you offer one good product to one of those guys, you know, they'll remember it for a very
Yeah.
long time.
And they also become the advocates of the taste.
Definitely.
They become the former. Now they become a Rohni. You know Rohni?
Exactly.
And like, guys,
Yeah.
this FluidTech, guys, you need to try that.
Yeah. And you know, it's also interesting because the African market is now the hotbed.
Yes.
Is it?
Exactly. Next
Like
frontier.
that's where everyone wants to be. And if they can find a partner who's not only dependable, good to work with, and they deliver, but on top of that, they're from that culture.
Exactly.
Crazy. Yeah. How about you?
Man. No, I think diversity is one of those things that can work for you or cannot work for you.
Yeah.
You just have to find why it needs to work for you or how it can work for you. So I mean, don't even go far. In Kenya alone, we have our own diversity problems. But we still get stuff done.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
So once you remove the perception or the stereotypes of what you think the other culture is, and you know, actually try that donut samosa thingy, you find out that diversity is working for you, right? Because now you've discovered something you never could have if you didn't.
Yeah.
Right? It's like the next big thing is outside that fear of, I never worked with these guys. I don't know who has ever worked with these guys.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. It's, you know, it's Africa. The quality of work might, you know, be X, Y, Z. When I go to forums, it's like, oh my God, one frustrating company, another one. I'm like, just because there's one bad apple doesn't mean they're all. Plus, there's a reason why everyone wants to be here now.
Yeah.
So if you really want to be here, come on.
Get with us. Yeah.
Because what most people forget is they are just having as much. You see, you go first, right? Let's say it's us pitching to them.
Yeah.
Is, you know, you've already awoken, let me put it that way, to the idea of, I already acknowledge that this is a foreign country, but I'm still crazy enough to go and want to work with them. So you've already broken that barrier yourself.
Yeah.
Then there's, you know, vice versa, where they're already crazy enough to know that I'm about to go against all the stereotypes that I've had and try this out.
Yeah.
Right? So the best part is when you two meet, because these are now two crazy people who don't care about stereotypes and whatnot, just because they share a common goal. Right? You want to enter the market, I'm telling you, you can enter the market through me.
Yeah.
Right? And that's now where the whole magic and fusion and diversity starts working for you.
Combi. I love it. I really love it. And you know, sometimes I think the best benefits of being in a multicultural environment, and by that I mean not from a lens of staff, it's from everything you do, from your clients, from the ethos you pick up. You know, sometimes when you're working with when you're one-dimensional, everything you know is Nairobi. So it's hard to know what I can infuse in my business that has not been done around that can work. Like, you know, it's very hard to know if you've not gone around. There's a time our CEO went to China for a conference, and at that conference there was a stand where you put an orange, like it's juice, instant juice. So the fresh oranges are there. It goes through, it's cut, and you can see it. Like you can see the process. It being cut, it being squeezed, it being entering your cup, and the cup coming to you. And you can choose whether you want it chilled or warm, and all this is it's like a
vending machine.
It's like a vending machine, but for fresh juice. And you can see the process. All you need to do is pay, move, and he sent us the video, and I was like, wow, this is actually really cool, and this is something I think can work, because when you're in the fruits business, you're thinking, not only am I going to buy fruits, let's think in the Kenyan context. You need to hire someone to do the squeezing for you. You need to hire someone to do like, you save so much. You save so much time, resources, and you gain convenience. One machine, one thing. Now the challenge is to figure out how I can replicate that in my hood in Meru. You get? That's now the challenge has been simplified, and because when you're in Nairobi and that's the life, the fruits, you have to go to a mama mboga, they do for you salad. If you want juice, you have to go to a juicing place, or you carry the fruits home and you blend. When you're from that environment, it's hard to picture a vending machine for juice. It's difficult, by the way. especially if you've not seen a vending machine, you get.
You have to. What's a vending machine?
What's a vending machine? Yeah. And I think diversity is a concoction of culture and exposure in one. You know, I mean, eating is cool, but have you tried eating with chopsticks? It's so difficult. But once I figured it out, you know, it's same eating, right?
Yeah.
But then something like with chopsticks, if especially you're using disposable ones, you save yourself time of washing the dishes. You get the spoons.
Yeah.
So everything has an advantage and disadvantage, or disadvantage, when you look at it, when you see it, right? Mm-hmm. And you see, does it make sense if I contextualize this? For instance, my experience with time, right? I had always grown up hearing the African time, but I just never knew what that meant in comparison. You see, you hear African time,
you didn't have something to compare it
but I
with.
didn't. Yeah, I'm like, what other time is there? You know, what other time is there?
Yeah.
Until I worked with someone. He was someone who had consulted me to train his team, and for him, he's from German descent. Mm-hmm. He gets to a meeting an hour before time. To keep that guy waiting for 2 minutes, you've kept him 1 hour, 2 minutes.
Yes.
You get what I mean?
I get you, yeah.
So for me, I learned the biggest lesson I have ever learned about time in one meeting. Just one meeting. Mm-hmm. And that meeting with him changed my perspective. And he was telling me, if we're going to work together, I need you to plan for an accident. Yeah. I need you to plan for anything to happen. Mm-hmm. Because at that time, what had happened was, I had left the house with my machine and everything, but I had forgotten to carry my charger. So what then I did is I asked, our meeting was in Westlands. Our offices were around Lavington. So what I did was, I was like, okay, I'm a bit early. I was like 10-15 minutes early. I was like, let me take a boda to the office, borrow my colleague a charger, come do this training, because I was on leave at that time. Do this training, close this consultancy training thing. Yeah. Then I return the charger, I go back home. I hadn't calculated just how you think bodas are fast, but they just are not that fast when you need them
not
to
at
be,
that time. Yeah.
So I got there 5 to 10 minutes late, but I could feel it in the room that it's not a room I'm welcome in anymore. Like I just, how you feel an air.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? Those things people say emotional intelligence. I just said, you know what? Let me address the elephant before the elephant addresses me. Mm-hmm. So I just said, I am so sorry for coming late. How long have you been here? Because I was like, I need to know the scale of what I've done. Because in my mind, I'm like, dude, it's just like 5 minutes. Right? Then he's like, I've been here for actually an hour, 30 minutes.
Wow.
In my mind, I was like, I need to check like in my mind, I was honestly confused because I'm like, am I the one who got the meeting wrong? Or so I was going to check. He's like, no, you're 5-6. He was like, you're around 5 to 10 minutes late. Mm-hmm. But that's not how I do business. And this for me is an indicator that you're not quite there when it comes to planning yourself. How then am I going to trust you to help me plan my team? I need you to be better than my team. And I just said, these are things you can't buy and buy. I'm here. I've been caught in the trap.
Baptism.
You know how the rat is in the trap. I was just there.
Caught, yeah.
Then I just told him, to be honest, let me just tell you what happened. Man, I really was on time. But then I just remembered I don't have my charger, and you see, this is a presentation I'm going to make. So I decided to go to the office and come back. And imagine he just listened.
Okay.
Like, he was not even rushing, or he just listened, and he said, you know, where I come from, it's taken very disrespectfully when you come late. Even if you do tell me that you'll come late, I'll still take it like I don't matter to you, because he asked me, with your machine, how long does your machine hold charge? I was like, honestly, like an hour. How long is this meeting? I was like, an hour, 30 minutes. It's like, you know, that look someone gives you, like,
come on. Yeah.
And he just told me, I just need you to make good of this, and let me know that whenever we do plan a meeting, please come 15 minutes in time. Okay. Yeah, he's like, I'm not going to tell you to come an hour. I know it's a stretch, but come 15 minutes in time, before time. And there I was like, okay, I've learned. You know, there's a difference between someone getting pissed and someone schooling you about your time ethic is just off. And from that time, even like I plan, like, so if we're going to have a meeting at 9, I'm like, okay, so if we're going to have a meeting at 9, that for me is 8:30. For it to be 8:30, I need to be. So even when I'm late, so even when I'm late, I'm not late. You get? Like, even when I say I'll be punctual, it's super punctual. So for me, the value of working in a multicultural environment is sometimes you learn the nuances beyond you, you know. Because in your culture, it could be coming on time is, we say 10, you're here at 10, right? That's how actually Kenya we work. Tukisema 10:05, 10:10 is okay. That's around, you're early, you're on time. Late is around 10:30, 10:40. Heading towards 11. You know, in some cultures, 10 is late. Like, we say 10 and you come at 10, you're late. Definitely. Like, it's those are those things I experience with people, especially in the working environment, and I'm humbled, you know.
I tell them all the time. I tell them being on time means being 15 minutes. At home, our clock, it's set back 15 minutes. Yeah, so it's something
military style.
Yeah.
No, but I do agree with you. Like, diversity, the whole, to me, it helps you understand humans better, or how to work with humans better. Because, I mean, you and I, all three of us, are very different people.
Yeah.
But we can actually sit down and have a conversation.
Yeah.
So now scale that to someone else different from a different culture, from different time zone even, or whatnot, and that, you know, there's whole different cultural background, cultures on cultures. There's family culture. There's, you know, my previous company used to work like this, you know, like there's so many other cultures on cultures. And if you learn to work with diversity, it helps you know people better. Like, you can pick things really quickly. That's one thing I've come to realize. It's like, this is the type of a person, this is this type of a business, this is this type of a client, and then you adjust accordingly.
Yeah.
Because you're in the business of diversity, so I'm gonna be a chameleon. Work how you work, and stuff like that. But then, very important thing I keep saying, you can be a chameleon, but never forget you're a chameleon, meaning don't forget your identity. Because it's very easy to get lost. Again, this is now probably the negative side of diversity. It's very easy to find yourself trying to be the best version of what the other person thinks you should be, that you forget yourself. You need to have your own backbone, in the sense that the other person can see also, this is this type of a, they like working like this, or doing stuff like that. So don't get lost by trying to please everyone.
Yeah.
Because you need to have your own standing and your own backbone. As a Kenyan, may you be a Kenyan, whatever it is, doesn't really matter what your backbone is, but just have it. Yeah, and I think.
Have there been any challenges you've experienced when trying to work in a multicultural environment?
oh yeah, and so many things can get lost in translation. Or, in the small nuances. Do you know what I mean? Like this person, you see, I usually say, if you know the other culture more than the other person knows that your culture, then you're not at fault, but you should be at fault, because you should help them understand you. Right?
Yeah.
Because one thing I've realized, most people don't close deals on diversity because you're good. They close them because they see how you're adjusting.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? It's like, oh, this person is ready to adjust to us, kind of a thing, right? So through that adjustment, they also now they're interested in learning yours.
Yeah. How about you?
Sorry, repeat the question.
Yeah, so I was asking if there are any challenges.
Challenges,
Yeah.
definitely. That whole work culture thing, it was an indirect thing for me. It wasn't direct, but I'd see how, if it's an invoice being sent, for them there's how you send it. You don't send it on the day.
Yeah.
You send it 3-4 days
Prior.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Small things, or you deliver it yourself.
Yeah.
You send an email, but at the same time, deliver it yourself. There's a way they hand out checks that you're supposed to receive. Small things. Like, you don't just say thanks.
True.
Like
you bow, and even because let me tell you, the whole bowing thing.
Yeah.
I remember Mr. Wairua. Shout out to Mr. Ian Wairua. He's the best lecturer that I ever experienced at Strathmore. Wairua. He's a Japanese class. So there's a time he was taking us through. So for him, he was not just teaching us the language; he was teaching us culture, food. Like he was, it was an experience, right? So there's a time he was telling us about greetings, and everyone in class was shook. I'm like, so if someone is more senior than you, you need to bow lower than them. Imagine if that person is short and you're taller than them.
You find a way.
So I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, so at first it's like, man, what are you telling me? This is not what we do as Kenyans.
Yeah.
But through the years, 3 years, 10 months, we've learned to work with some of these guys, and just as he said, as Tony has said, it matters how willing you are, to learn their culture, and vice versa. How willing you are to let them know about your culture.
Yeah.
Like, don't get upset when you meet that difference.
Yeah.
Just understand, especially if it comes badly from the other side.
Yeah.
Like a click. If a Kenyan clicked, it would mean what he's upset.
Yeah.
Or like
a joke.
Yeah.
So then maybe in their effort to try to understand the Kenyan culture, they'll click in the wrong context.
Yes.
But
that's what you do.
Why are you clicking?
Yeah.
Like, what's the problem?
Yeah.
So they might do things the wrong way. So you can teach them, at the same time don't be too upset.
Yeah.
When they come the wrong way.
Yeah.
So just be willing to learn.
Understanding the differences and being okay with the differences.
Exactly.
So how do you bridge the difference?
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, guys. And I know there are people who are watching and they're like, what? These are some amazing people that I'd love to work with in terms of helping our audience develop products, develop systems, also tweak the systems that they have.
Yeah.
So how do they reach you guys?
Well, you could go to Randiek at FluidTechGlobal.com. That is RRANDIEK at FluidTechGlobal.com, or info at FluidTechGlobal.com, or the socials, which would be Facebook and Instagram at FluidTech.
Okay.
Or the website, FluidTechGlobal.com. There you should be able to get some phone numbers.
Yeah.
If you prefer phone calls, you should be able to get something there.
Yeah.
Or follow Anthony.
Yes.
At
Anapton.
LinkedIn.
They're probably on
Yes.
LinkedIn. Talk to me on LinkedIn.
Talk to him on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
For me, I don't have any
social. He's that kind of guy, guys. Anyway.
Which is interesting for a techie.
For a techie, right? Yeah. On top of that, I know there are people who want to find out more about what you guys do. Where do these specific people go to? Where is your podcast hosted?
The podcast is
on very many platforms.
On very many platforms, yeah. But the mother platform is Anchor. Then Anchor distributes it to whatever. But it's called Fluid Talks.
Yeah.
Yeah, where Tony and his co-host Michael. Yeah, they cover tech-based topics.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting place to drop in.
Yeah.
Just have a listen to lame techie jokes.
Very lame.
Very
lame. But they're smart. They're very
smart.
Yeah, they're very smart individuals. They have value to give. So that's Fluid Talks. Yeah.
Awesome. So guys, you've got it. Again, if you didn't watch the first episode, explaining what exactly FluidTech does and how they impact your life, here's the link to the episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please let us know if you're a young person in business, wherever you are in the continent. Please let us know your experience working with different cultures. Let us know in the comment section. Like and subscribe. It's totally free, like the air you breathe. Please subscribe. Also, you can listen to us on Spotify or Podbean. Another thing, you can follow us on social media platforms, and then you'll get to know when our episodes are coming out. Otherwise, until next time, this is Africana.